Hello, and this is my review of the iFi iCan Micro. This unit is a standalone headphone amplifier. Good, solid all-metal construction all around. Standard controls, volume, quarter-inch headphone jack. Does come with an adapter for 1/8 inch. Your inputs are RCA and 3.5 millimeter. The unit is powered by a wall wart power plug, so you do need mains power for it. Something that iFi just shared with me is that going forward, the AC adapters are integrated with the iPower circuitry. iFi has a separate product called iPower, which cleans up power, provides better signal to your equipment, eliminates a lot of background noise from power switching, whatever might introduce noise to your power grid. It cleans that up nicely, so now that's integrated into the wall wart that comes with the iCan. That was nice. This was provided to me by the kind people over at iFi, so thank you very much, Owen and crew. The reason why I'm doing this is because I had or have an iFi iDSD micro, and I had wondered, as a number of other people I've spoken with on the boards, what is the difference between the headphone section of this integrated DAC and amp? What's the difference between the iDSD and the dedicated iCan micro? Is it that big a difference? Is it that much better? So yeah, they were kind enough to send me this to do a comparison, and after a few dry runs, burn in, and comparison with equipment between the two, and obviously music genres between the two, I feel pretty confident with putting together my thoughts on this. So one of the things that I am going to touch on before this is over is the bass head application for this, because while I've seen reviews for the iCan and I've seen reviews for the iDSD, I really haven't seen much of a review for the bass heads out there who are part of the audiophile community but tend to be overlooked. So let's get to it. Coming from the iDSD, lots and lots of features. Won't get into all of them, but the corresponding features between the two, X-Bass and 3D spatialization. Off, on. The difference between X-Bass off and X-Bass on, it's moderate. It's not earth-shattering, but it is noticeable. The difference between 3D spatialization off and 3D spatialization on, again, it's not overly done. It's not gimmicky. It's nicely implemented. A far cry from the 3D effects that you get with like your sound card software or something like that, where it just sounds like somebody's put you in a tin can but put lots of reverb on it. No, this is actually done very nicely. Likewise, both features available on the iCan. However, in the iCan, there's actually 3 positions. The bottom position corresponding to the off position on the iDSD. For the X-Bass, if you go up to the top position, that's actually 2. And that is corresponding to the on position of the iDSD. And I'd say they're pretty comparable. However, the iCan has a 3rd position in the middle, where it just really just puts lots of emphasis on the bass, on the thump, on the front end. So it doesn't make it boomy, it doesn't make it bloated, but it does give it a harder and more defined punch. So it's very nice. Depending upon the headphones, I have headphones like my HD 650s. Honestly, I usually leave it off. There's plenty of bass in there. I don't need anything at all. For other headphones, like my Cos Porta Pros, I might put it in the second position just to give it a little bit more emphasis. Specifically, and really only out of my headphones, for my AKG K550s. Nice linear reference, flat sound signature, but the bass just really doesn't have as much presence as I would like typically. So I will either have it in the 2 position, and in some instances I might actually kick it up to the 3rd, but those are really the only headphones that I ever use it with, in the 3rd position. For 3D spatialization, again, depends on your headphones. My most closed, claustrophobic sounding headphones would be my Photive PH BTX6s. Great headphones. They're Bluetooth. I really pretty much only use them corded though. Just for cheap travel phones, if you're going someplace where you don't want your good phones to get lost or destroyed. These are wonderful. They're cheap, and they have lots of bass, so they're lots of fun. But definitely the most claustrophobic headphones that I have. The sound stage is very, very small on these. With these, I will put the 3D in the second position. Very, very rarely will I use a 3rd. The second position is usually fine for this. Other than these, I really don't use 3D. It's really not necessary. Most of my headphones are open enough. But if you do have closed headphones that have a small sound stage, it can help. So now let's talk about features. It's quite light. It would be portable if it had a battery solution. Unfortunately, it is plugged to the wall. However, the iFi DSD, it's actually a little bit heavier. But again, this is also a combo of a DAC, digital audio converter, and a headphone amp, as well as has a pretty big honking battery in here. So I can plug this up and run my headphones for 6, 7, 8 hours off of battery power. The MP3 player into the audio in and use it just as an amp, or I can coax or USB in from a digital audio player or iPhone or iPad and use the DAC that's in this. So excellent DAC, like outstanding DAC. I haven't heard anything short of heading into the $2,500 range that surpasses the DAC in this. And the headphone is really quite good. The headphone amp is really quite good as well. But really what shines in this is the DAC. So it is a little bit heavier, but it does a bit more. So yes, you can run it powered off the USB or unplug it and still turn it on and internal battery takes over. So in terms of portable flexibility, if I'm going to a specific location where I have the ability to plug up, say, to power in a hotel room or something like that, would I take this? Yes, because it's nice, stackable, set it on the nightstand next to your hotel bed, and you've got some really good quality music coming into your headphones in your hotel room. You don't have to worry about taking a big rack-sized or even desktop-sized amp with you. Both of these can pretty much fit pretty easily in most laptop bags. So fairly portable, but tied to power. Fairly portable, but has its own battery. So excellent for plane trips and bus rides, trains, you name it, has its own power. For the amps, which is really where these are being compared in my book, the power output in these are pretty comparable. I wouldn't say that one is demonstrably superior to the other in terms of powering headphones. The Eco Mode and IEM matcher in the iFi Micro allows you to bring the power down low enough to very easily power very sensitive in-ear headphones or in-ear monitors. Dip switches on the iCan allow you to do a very similar function to handle your more sensitive in-ear monitors. But at the other end of the spectrum, both of them handle nicely the Sennheiser HD650s. I would not claim that they're the most difficult headphones to drive, but they're certainly very power hungry. And in addition to that, not only with the 650s is there a factor of getting it to be loud enough, the 650s scale very well. Will I play the 650s from my little MP3 player? No, it would not be satisfactory. From my, I have an iBasso DX90, but you know, the X5, X3, you know, will that play these? Sure it will. Will it bring out the best of them? No, but will it make them acceptable? In my experience, and in my opinion, yes, it will give you an acceptable performance out of a good powered DAP. But where these really shine is when you plug these into a good headphone amplifier. And between the two, where this is the most amp picky headphone that I have, actually between the two, this actually sounds pretty much the same. I would say maybe a little bit brighter on the iDSD or DSD micro than on the iCan. But again, it depends on the track, and it's not a huge difference, just a little bit. For those headphones, it really doesn't showcase the difference between the two headphone amps. To me, the HD650s are my headphones that I want to lose myself in and just you know, close my eyes and listen to music for like 2 or 3 hours reclining and just passively listening and enjoying. For more analytical, I would say for more analytical listening, the AKG K550s are more of what I go to, and these allow me to have good analytical evaluation of the devices, as well as the soundstage on these is as wide as any closed-backed headphone I've ever heard. These actually rival the soundstage of my HD650s. Difference being wearing the HD650s, sitting next to my wife, she hears everything I'm listening to. I wear these unless I've got it really cranked up. She pretty much isn't going to hear what I'm listening to. Get a good seal on these, run these off the iCan, and music that has a good emphasis on the treble. Let's say orchestral music where you're listening to flutes and piccolos, and you've got a section that has a tendency to get a little sibilant. These don't like that. these if you have sibilants in your track, these will make you pay for it. It kind of draws that out. In the iDSD Micro, there's really, it's just there and you have to deal with it. It's actually a little bit better controlled in the iCan. Now that does not mean that you're losing detail. Actually, I'm finding that I hear more detail out of the iCan using the same media, same everything, as opposed to what I hear out of the iDSD's headphone amp. And again, that's just using these, comparing these as amps, not amp and DAC, but just amp to amp. A little bit brighter, but not quite as detailed. Much more detailed, slightly wider sound stage, and better control of the top end. And again, that's all things, all settings set equal. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't really take as seriously as I think they should. These are Koss Porta-Pros. They've been around forever. They're super inexpensive. A lot of people just kind of ignore them. If you're plugging these up to an iPhone, you're plugging these up to a little Android phone, and you're listening from an Android phone or from an iPhone, you're not going to get the greatest sound quality. But if you have a good source material that is being played through a good quality DAC, and then you plug that up to either the iDSD Micro or the iCan or another good quality amplifier, these are actually surprisingly good. Good detail, good delivery. I really have no complaints about these. I did put in the little pleather mod because these come with little foam ear pad covers. I replaced those with these, and I don't know how much better it makes the sound, but to me, it makes it much more comfortable and more enjoyable to listen to. So with Cost Porta Pros, great detail, excellent delivery, nice to listen to. Likewise, AKG K545s. These are just outstanding. These have everything that I want. They're a little bit smaller than the K550s. They're not quite as wide with the sound stage, but they've got a better bass presence. They're a little less sibilant with the high end, and these are just great, and they sound tremendous on both. Now, for the part that I feel has been missing in a lot of reviews, there is a bass head application for both of these. Now, these are not my bass head cans. These are just I would say low-end bass head if you just were looking to get started. The advantage of these is that straight out of your iPhone, straight out of your MP3 player, these have a good thump. They're not bad. There are limits to what they do. They do have a congested sound. The bass intrudes on the mids. But if you just want to have club thump or techno or house or whatever you want to listen to, and you just want to have it without using a lot of EQ and a lot of amplification, you know, these get the job done. Now, if you really want to go what I would call full-on bass head, also by JVC, these are HA SZ2000s. Now, straight out of your MP3 player, straight out of your DAP, these really aren't anything special, I'll be honest with you. Honestly, I think the HA M55s that I just showed you are better straight out of an iPhone or the like. But if you put these up with a good amplifier and throw some power and some well-adjusted EQ, these things thump like there's no tomorrow. I've never seen a set of headphones that can do what these can do. And between the two, I throw on the X-Bass on the iDSD. Very, very happy with the sound. Definitely satisfies my my bass head sweet tooth. iCan just takes it to the next level. You take, if I have it in two, they're kind of comparable, but now there's that third position and just boom. These, depending upon what you're listening to, these get so kinetically active that they have made my temples itch because there's just that much thump coming through. Yet people can actually see them bouncing on your head. It's just absolutely incredible. So if you are a bass head and you want a portable solution that will also be a good DAC, iDSD does a very capable job. But if you're willing to forego the portability, the iCan just does that much of a better job. Plus, both of those JVCs tend to be a little bit more closed sound in the sound stage. This opens them up a bit better than the iDSD does. So, conclusion. Do I like one more than the other? I love my iDSD. I don't want to get rid of it. But the headphone amp, I do have to admit, is a little bit better in the iCan. So in terms of headphone amplification, nod to the iCan. And hopefully this helps you if you're evaluating a solution for yourselves. That's it for me. Thank you all very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.